Welcome back, friends. So, when I was out in the Bay Area, visited Pacifica. I used to live out there. I don't know how much I've talked about this before on recent videos, but it was a time of a lot of inflection in my life. It was a time with a lot of big changes. And so, whenever I'm out there, one year to the next for GDC in the Bay Area, I tend to go visit Pacifica, and I'll get myself little trinkets like got this handcuff key sometime in the past, as well as this chain hangs on. Picked up in a previous year this little stone skull carving. I think it's pretty slick. So my office is littered with these little trinkets that I pick up, and they're all from the little used store over in Pacific Manor, little store out there. A bunch of old used goods. This year I got myself something that I really like, and you see it here. All right, looks like a pocket watch, and it's not. It's an old compass. And, I mean, it works just fine. You know, it's a compass. But what I like about it, I mean, a couple things. One, so out in Pacifica, for those of you who don't know, I've got a tree I really like out there. This picture's from like 10 years ago. I visited it kind of every year since. Got a bunch of video and footage this year. I might use that at some point. Share it on this channel or use it in a backdrop. Don't know yet. Currently, I'm actually exporting like 4 hours of that in the other room. The other computer's getting hot from exporting it. But the reason I like this pocket compass that looks like a pocket watch is because one of my other old projects, and you know, I bet I have a painting somewhere. In fact, yeah, one sec, let me grab that. Here we are. So one of my old projects that I made in Pacifica was Alice in Bomberland. And Alice in Bomberland, of course, Alice in Wonderland is public domain, not the Disney adaptation. That's owned by Disney. Alice in Wonderland, the book, by Lewis Carroll, so old it's 100% public domain. And so we had these different concepts of the characters. It was kind of just a simple, think of like a web game dodging kind of mechanic. Repurposed text from the story. But of course, the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, and again I made this project out in Pacifica, has this pocket watch. Pulls out and says, relate. Right? He's rushing about. Worried about, is he on time? Worried about, is he going fast enough? Worried about if he missed his appointment. And that's why I like the compass that looks like a pocket watch. Because I think a lot of folks, including maybe myself, for too many years, we're a little too focused on how fast are we getting there? Am I on schedule for it? Am I doing it quickly enough? Rather than, am I headed the right direction? Am I doing the right thing? Because this turns out, of course, to be an enormously far more important question to answer than how quickly we're doing it. It's important to take care not to do something that's not worth doing at all extraordinarily well. It's far better to make gradual progress, at least in the right direction. This is also a case where, quite often, it can feel as though whenever you're getting started in your career, as if everyone else has a head start but you, because you're just starting out. But the thing is, if they've been rushing about frantically in the wrong direction, you may have the head start on them because you're slowly going in the right direction while they've been going so far off they're going to have to backtrack. And so that's just what I wanted to share today. It's why I got myself this little trinket, this little reminder. Nice and easy to carry. I don't think I'm going to connect to that chain, put it in my watch pocket, but we'll see what happens. I'm someone who likes to rush. I'm someone who likes to work quickly. I'm a rapid prototyper by profession, trade, expertise, and background. It's what I do. I like to accelerate people's paths, but at the same time, we like to try to filter out early on and decide on, but where are you trying to get with this? What's your eventual objective? What do you want out of this? Because if it's not where this path leads, then don't go down that path. And if what you want is something else, well, let's figure out what the path is to get you there. Because the direction you're headed in, deciding your goal, deciding what you want out of it, is far more important than how quickly or how aggressively you're going after it. The only little bit of an exception, which again, rapid prototyper, so I got to defend my trade, is that sometimes it's hard to tell until you've tried a little bit, until you've peeked down that direction, until you've run over there to check and see, is this worth getting to? Because sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's hard to guess from a distance because we can't see that far ahead. But if you're doing that, be conscious that's what you're doing, that you're sizing up if it's worth doing. And that's different from going all in, all chips on the table, in one direction until years later you find yourself caught off guard. I think a lot of what's led me to do the kind of work that I do has been having seen year after year at GDC, through my industry friends and otherwise, people who went heavily in the direction of making games professionally in a bigger studio, and then found that they spent less time in that line of work than it took them to get into it. Right? 4, 6 years of school, X number of years of projects, finally got themselves what they thought was the dream job. And again, maybe to an extent, this might have been me. It's one of the reasons why I watch out for it. Before they realized, nah, they were heading the wrong direction the whole time. Now, to be clear, I'm not anti-game making. Obviously, I'm very pro-game making. But like I've talked about in some other videos, don't confuse making games with the game industry. Don't confuse the business of games with making games as a craft worth doing, any more than we confuse thinking that the only people who should dance are the people who dance on stages, the only people who play music should be the ones who play for ticket holders, that the only people who should play sports are people who are involved with FIFA. You've heard all this from me before. Anyway, I just wanted to share my new little trinket, my compass that looks like a pocket watch from Pacifica, which I'm excited about. Anywho, that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have another video for y'all tomorrow.